start recording this, and then this training will be viewable on our help document sheet. I'll give some of those resources at the end of this training. But some of the topics we're going to cover today is manually adding and editing dealer equipment. So this is specifically for manual uploads. This is not going to cover anything to do with syncs with your business system. We're going to go over adding dealer promotions, specials. This will be relevant to equipment specials, service, parts. They all kind of fall under the same umbrella. We're going to go over basic dealer location information. So this will be updating location images, hours of operation, contact information for different locations. We'll review employee and career options that you can add to your site. And then we're going to go over editing pages. We'll keep it to the home page, but the editing functioning or edit functioning happens all kind of the same on all pages. So let's go ahead and get into the site. If you have been on the back end of your site on our old platform, the easiest way to get there has always been, I think everyone can see my URL up here, yeah. You would typically go to your website URL, you would do /Sitefinity. And when you would enter, it would take you into a login screen and it would take you into our main backend dashboard of Sitefinity. For the new platform, you do /LP-connect. And when you do so, this will take you into the back end of the site. I think it's going to go past the login screen since I'm already logged in, but it'll prompt you with a login screen, and then it will take you to this dashboard. Again, all of this information will get sent to you when your site launches. If you think your site has launched already and you haven't gotten any of this information, please feel free to email us and we'll make sure that you have all the login information you need. If at this point you still aren't sure if you're on the new platform or on our legacy platform, please feel free to add your contact information and your website to the chat and I can double check that for you. Also, if you're curious when you're gonna launch on the new platform, if you haven't, feel free to drop your contact information and I can check where you're at on our boards and we can check when you're gonna launch on our new platform, okay? So I'm gonna start with kind of the easier topics, the more approachable topics first. We're gonna go ahead and look at location information. I like to navigate all throughout this left-hand sidebar here. You do have some editable things within the main dashboard, but I think it's easiest to find everything here on this left-hand sidebar. The first area I'm gonna go into is locations. Whether you have one location or multiple locations, all of that information is gonna live here. For our demo, we have a couple of locations already created. If you're adding in a new location, like if you guys absorb a new brand or something like that, you would go ahead and click into the add new up here at the top. But for example purposes, I'm just gonna go ahead and click into one that's already existing and I'll show you where all the different editing happens here. When it populates, you have a title that you would put in for your location. You have your phone number is located right here. The contact email is hidden a little bit, but it is on this page as well. It's just a little bit further down underneath the map. You have your contact email. So this would be like the main contact for your location. And then a few other things that you can edit. If you guys ever move locations, you have your Google API map here. If you want to update any hours, you have each of these rows that you can update. You can also add additional rows. So if you want to do like holiday hours or any sort of seasonal hours, you can add additional hour information there. If you want to add a little bit of a description to your location, so if there's any like historical information or any like extra blurbs you want to add, you can go ahead and add that there. And then your location image will be over here on the right-hand side. That's kind of nice to update seasonally, or, you know, something that has like your dealer logo in the background, just kind of personalizes things really well. And so that's kind of the main things. You also have the option of adding employees to each location. We'll go into that a little bit more when we cover employees here in a minute. But basically, let me see if I can pull it up as an example. If you have specific staff that you want linked to each location, you can do that and it'll display kind of similarly to this. So, you know, this John Doe is linked to the Grapevine location. So that staff is showing up here on this page. You can kind of see that you have the option of basically adding in employees, which we'll review here in a little bit, but you'll kind of be able to add them to the list. So you can kind of see that these are the 2 staff members that are applied to this location. Whenever you make changes, whether you're creating a new location or updating an already existing one, you always want to look for like a publish or an update button. It'll usually always be in the upper right-hand corner. You can see it here. And just always, whenever you're done making changes and happy with the changes, update that button so that those changes will automatically be applied to the site. A couple things about location information. It will automatically update these detail pages for your locations, which should be already set up on all of your sites. It will also update specifically the text within this dropdown. So the text within these like 4 sections here for this example specifically. The one thing it won't update is the location images in the mega menu dropdown. And the reason why is because there's only space for 2 images, and mega menu updates only happen within like the admin settings. So if you're ever wanting to update the images that are in this dropdown specifically, just reach out to a member of support and we can help update those for you. Some dealers don't have them, some dealers do. It's just kind of a case-by-case basis, but all of the detail pages will automatically get updated through the location backend that we just reviewed here. Does anyone have questions about location updates? I'm going to open the chat just so I have that updated. Alrighty. Kind of moving down the line, just because they're stacked on top of each other, we'll review employees as well. Employees, as we kind of mentioned a minute ago, links with locations. So it's a good thing to kind of cover afterwards. Some dealers have entirely separate staff pages, but most don't. And the reason why is because, as mentioned earlier, staff automatically gets updated to the location it's associated with. But if you want a separate staff page and you don't already have one, go ahead and reach out to support. We can help you, excuse me, get that set up for you so you can have kind of a separate page that highlights staff specifically. For this example, as you can see, it's kind of the same setup as locations. If you want to add new employees, you would click the Add New button up at the top. But to click into one that's already existing, let's do a good old John Doe. We'll go over all the information that you can input. Title, first and last name. This is the spot where you can link a location to this person, whether they work at multiple locations, that's up to you, or just one, you can move them over to whichever location they work at. Phone number, title, email. If you want to put in a department, totally up to you to fill out as much or as little of it as you want. And then if you want to add a featured image or a staff image, you have the option of doing that as well. So this is a pretty simple and straightforward setup there. If at any point you want to remove a staff member, so someone's moved on to greener pastures or is just no longer working with you guys, you can highlight them. If you kind of hover over them, it'll give you the prompt to just trash the listing and it'll remove them from any page they're associated with. And so that's how you would remove staff. And it's kind of like you remove it here and it removes them from all the associated pages. So it's not like a two-step thing. You don't have to go into the staff page or go into the detail page of the location. You can just do that all directly from here. Kind of moving down the line, careers kind of follow suit in the same fashion here. So I'll click into the careers tab, still kind of working within that left-hand sidebar there. And then I'll also pull up what the front end of careers looks like. Typically, we nest that under about, unless requested to be somewhere else. So this is kind of how careers will display on the front end. This whole thing, kind of where my cursor is outlining, is a widget that displays all of the listings. So this is another thing where you input the information on the back end and it automatically goes to this page. You don't have to make edits to the page directly. So in the back end here, you can see that these are the two listings that are displaying there on the front end. Same thing as before. If you're creating a new listing, you would click add new. Same as before with employees. If this position gets filled, you can kind of hover over this and trash it. But clicking into the options for editing or adding a new one, this is kind of what it would look like. So you would add in that title, the description field. So basically kind of just all of the information about the listing would be here. If you want it to be linked to a specific location, same as before, you can add it to a location. And then this field is kind of important. So this is the career form ID. Basically, within your website, you have a multitude of forms that are integrated in different places. So you have like a contact form, you have service and parts request, request a quote. All these different forms are integrated throughout the site. And in the back end, they have like a form ID number that's linked to them. I just know this, the form ID for employee is 7. So you want to put that number in here. And the reason why is because on the detail pages on the front end, it will have that button for an employee application, and they can directly fill out an employee application. It like pops up. There it is. And this will be automatically linked to the listing. So that's really nice. With all dealers, the employee application form ID is 7. So that's, I guess, something to remember, but it'll be in this recording and it'll be in all of our notes. So that's kind of how you know, or sorry, that's kind of the form ID that will be linked to employee applications or careers in general. And that's it for careers. Again, whenever you're done either creating a new one or editing an already existing one, just look for that update button or that publish button so that it will publish on the front end. Not sure what that area is, but we're going to keep on moving on. Take a little second. Any questions about careers, employees, editing locations? If questions arise later, I'll give some resources for contacting us. Next thing I'm going to dive into is promotions. So we kind of worked down the line here. I'm going to bop back up to promotions here. Your sidebar also may look a little bit different. I'm logged in as an admin, so there's a few bonus things. We kind of simplify that for our dealers for a number of reasons. There's just less to get confused by and just some admin things that are just kind of unnecessary. But you should have all of the things we've already covered. Looking into promotions, unlike the topics we've already covered, adding in promotions is kind of a 2-step process. So there's this step, which is creating the back-end content. But the second step is placing the specials on a specific page. This is a little bit different than our legacy platform. On the legacy platform, this transition happened automatically, but now it's a two-step process. So we'll break this down into 2 steps, and it'll transition us into making page edits as well. So same as before, if you're creating a new listing, you would click Add New. I'm going to click into just one of these examples. I'll click into a TracTru package. And yeah, kind of the things that would fall under the promotions umbrella would be anything from like parts specials to service specials to some sort of like weekly special you're running, whether that be like an event or something. TracTru packages have become super big deal over the past year or so. These would fall under the promotions umbrella. So kind of a lot of things, basically anything besides like actual equipment listings, I think would be put underneath the promotions umbrella. So looking at this one, spot for a title, spot for a subtitle. This can be anything. Here it's the 0 down, 0% APR. It could be the price of the special. It's totally up to you. The next 2 sections that I'm going to talk about are kind of linked together. You have this promotion gallery and also this promotion image. Both of these are referencing image media. The promotion image is going to be your main image. So this will be kind of the main card and the main image that displays with the special. And then if you have any additional images, like kind of thumbnail images or more detailed stuff you want included, you would add them under the add to gallery or the promotion gallery. These both populate in the same way. Add to gallery, it pulls up your already existing media library, or you can upload directly from your computer. And then the promotion image works in the same way. It pulls up the upload from computer or upload from an already existing media gallery. And then comes into the like description stuff. So you want to fill out your main description box and then your disclaimer box. Let's see. You also have the option of adding in a start and end date and whether or not you want that to display on the front end. And those are kind of the main fields that you want to fill out. Let's go ahead and pull up one on the front end. Let's see here. Equipment specials. I think this is, yeah, so this is the equipment specials page. And this is one of the specials that they've created. So you can kind of see that the main image, the main title, the subtext, when you click into the details, it'll kind of have the additional details with call to action buttons that are already like hard coded into the detail page. It'll pull up other related specials. So this will start to populate the more you add in more promotions. Disclaimer is down here. Eligible products will also be an option. It'll start to populate all of your published products, and you can link certain products to the promotion itself. One thing to keep in mind here, this is only going to populate eligible products that are manually added in. It's not going to pull up like Kubota equipment because the Kubota equipment is co-opt, it's synced, it has all of its promotions already integrated into the Kubota showroom. Those won't display here. This is just if you're running specials on like dealer added equipment. Once you're done, as always, update or publish the back end. And then to kind of go over that second step, we're going to navigate to pages. So this is kind of like you can place this special basically anywhere. I'm going to go over, let's go ahead and add this one just for example purposes to the parts specials page. All of your pages will be listed out here. As you can see, there's multiple pages of pages. Easier way to kind of look for things is you can just search for them. So I'm just going to kind of search for this keyword specials, and it should kind of pull up all of our pages that have specials in them. So you can see equipment, parts, service. Just for an example, I'm going to click into the parts specials page. Most of your specials pages should already be set up with a promotions block. After this, we're going to dive into homepage edits. So I'll kind of, when we get there, I'll show you how you can add a special like promotions block to pages outside of the ones that are already created. As you can see, this page editor already has some specials added to it. But you can see that we have this little like prompt here. It says add promotions. I'm going to also open up this like a little hamburger stack overview. This basically shows all the different widgets that are placed on this page already. This is a good way of distinguishing if a page already has the promotion block on it. As we can see, there's a title, and that's what it says, part specials, but the promotions block is also already placed on this page. So that's just a good way of seeing like which widgets are placed on each page. But you'll see this kind of prompt here, and it says add promotion. And when you click into it, it's going to create this long list of promotions. Basically, anything that's populated in this list has been entered in the way that we just went over. So you do the backend creation of the promotion, you navigate to the page that you want it to live on, you make sure the promotions block is placed on that page, and then you can select it from this list here. So once you select it, like let's just, I don't remember which one I edited it, but we'll just go ahead and do this one. It takes a little second, but then it's placed there and it's on the page. And then you kind of scroll down and here's that add promotions prompt again, and you can add in another special and so on and so forth. As you add them, they get removed from the drop-down list, but they're present on the page. And so that's how promotions get added to a page. It's kind of cool. You can like drag and drop these and reorder them if you want as well. And then if you ever just want to delete something, you can just remove it by clicking the X, and then it's removed from the page. So that's how placing promotions on a page works. As always, you always click the update button so that those changes apply to the front end of the site. Any questions with promotions? Can you arrange the order of the specials? You can. So I just kind of demonstrated that. I think, let's see. Oh, I was under the impression that it worked like that. Like the drag and drop in the arrangement. Dana, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. I thought that's how that was supposed to work in the ordering, but I'm noticing as I release, they don't change. I'll get a little bit more information about that and I'll make some notes about it. Just give me 1 second here. All right, I think that's how that should work, but it doesn't seem to be working in that way right now, but I'll get some more information about that. Since we're working within pages, I am going to just navigate to another page and we'll go over some kind of basic edits and how just the WordPress editing works. I've done a fair amount of one-on-one trainings since the new platform, and it seems like a good amount of people have experience with WordPress, which is pretty cool. I think I've been working with it for a while, so I'm kind of used to how the editing works. I do think it's a lot easier than our old platform, but like anything, change sometimes has a little bit of an adjustment period. But yeah, we'll review all of that kind of together. I'm going to work within the home page because I think that's typically where people like to make the most edits. I'm not seeing homepage on this first list. So again, you can always use the search function and it'll populate that page. There it is. Click in to edit that. Oh, Dana, I'm seeing that you haven't switched to the new platform yet. Okay. I'll reach out to you independently about that question then. Yeah, again, just to reiterate, all of this training is for the new platform. So if you haven't migrated, to the new platform, a lot of this may not make sense or translate over to how you're used to doing back-end edits. So just keep that in mind. Alrighty, so I clicked into the homepage. I'll kind of pull up the homepage so we can look at things a little side by side. You can see that kind of everything translates over from the back-end editor to the front end and how it looks. There's a couple of like sidebar editors that I like to kind of toggle through. I addressed one of them a little bit earlier when we were on the promotions page. It's this kind of hamburger stack up here. It's technically called the document overview. I like to have that open sometimes. We also have this right-hand sidebar, which is like the independent block editor or block settings. And you can kind of open and close that as well. So it's nice to kind of have these both tucked away sometimes, and you can see the full page editor and what it's going to look like on your desktop. Or you can have these kind of both open while you're editing through different blocks. As you can see, when you kind of filter through these different left-hand sidebars, it'll start to highlight different sections of the site. I can come all the way down here and it'll drag me down to this logo scroller. If I want to go back up to the carousel, you can see that it pulls you back up there. So this is kind of a good way of navigating through pages. You'll also see these caret drop downs. Some of these blocks have multiple components to them. For example, this top image here is actually a carousel that scrolls through multiple slides. When I open this up, you can see that it has 3 components, 3 different slides. As I click on them, different editors populate. You can see that my sidebar over on the right-hand side changes from the main carousel, which is where you could like add an additional slide. But when I click into the individual slides that are already created, you have a bunch of editing capabilities that kind of show up for you. I think this is a really nice feature compared to our old platform, where there was always like this pop-up that kind of blocked what you were changing. On this platform, you kind of see the changes happen in real time, which is really nice. So you can kind of click in, you can change the image, update an image from your library, from your computer. You can click into these individual components and change the text. This is like a heading, and you can see that the heading has like a background of orange with white text. You can change that. You can clear the heading and have it just be white text, or you can have it be black and you can change the text to orange. You know, you can do a bunch of different things here. This you can see is a button, and this button is linked somewhere. So you can change where certain links go, and you can change the text itself. You can do things like change the orientation of where the text falls on the image, which is kind of up here in this editing sidebar here. So I can kind of move this around and have it be in a different place. So all of these components really work independently of each other, and you can kind of adjust things as you see fit and make it super customizable. So I think that's really cool and a great new feature that we have, and that's on some people's homepage. There's a bunch of different hero options that you have, but the carousel is one of them. Kind of continuing on down, you see that we have a button banner here. That's what these 3 buttons are. They look kind of stacked on here, but on the front end, you can kind of see that this is how they display. They spread out through the whole width of the page. You can add additional buttons. You can see that the right-hand sidebar changes, and this is where the editor for it comes into play. So as you change, you know, the heading and the subtext, you can kind of change the colors. You can add in a link and where you want it to go. All that kind of stuff is all just these independent components for editing the homepage. And that continues down through pretty much the whole homepage at least, and all of these pages outside of the homepage. So like your About Us, or like if you have other, like just all the pages have these kind of editors in the same way. So you can kind of edit those different components. This block is directly from Kubota. So that gets updated automatically. You don't have to worry about that. But you can update, you know, these cards and display different Kubota equipment that you carry. Another block that's super popular is like your welcome to. So this is where you have maybe like an image of your dealership. You can change different call to action buttons that you find important, change kind of your about us blurb, so on and so forth. I think this component of the site sometimes gets a little overwhelming for people. You kind of go in and start making changes and you're like, oh, is that right? Or I don't know how to do that. And if you just want help and want us to do something like that, we're more than happy to help you with that. Also, there's always like a back button, an undo button. So if you do something weird and you're like, that's not right, just undo it, or just don't save the page, don't update it, and just back out and retreat. And if that's the case, that's totally fine. We can always help you with that. Oh, let me check the chat really quick. Kelly, let's see. Can I still put a video in one of those panes? We're getting there with all of the heroes. We can only do it on one of our heroes right now. Let me actually show an example. I think Central Kubota has it. At least they did kind of recently. Yeah, so this is, it's my internet might be a little on the slow side, but this is a video in this 3-panel hero. So this is the only one that has video capabilities right now. The full width carousel, we're still waiting for an update to get videos on the full width. So yeah, we're getting there for all of the heroes, but for now, video is available on the 3-panel. So if that's something you want, we can update the 3-panel. And then let's see, another question in the chat. Can the site be previewed on mobile view? Yeah, I can show it in mobile view really quick while we're on the home page. This is just within my browser, so ignore all the code stuff, but this is what the sites are looking like on mobile right now. Menu drop-down options, I think are a lot better than they used to be. So you have kind of these different tiered drop-downs here for menu options. All of the call functionality kind of works the same as well. And contact information is a form. Buttons stack on top of each other. The carousel is side by side with the prompting arrows there. Kubota offers are going to have the prompt arrows to go side by side also. Working down, yeah, images that are all in like columns will stack side by side. Browse by category will be stacked. Welcome to will stack like so. Other brand logos will scroll side by side, and then your footer will tuck in down here as well. And we can go through multiple pages, but yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Dana, does the backend offer a mobile preview before submitting changes? You can just still do the like right. I'm working on a Mac, but like the right click and inspect, which is just like a browser feature of checking mobile. But the backend editor itself, like built in, does not. But you can still do like the browser edit and check it that way. I can follow up with you about that too a little bit more, Dana, if you want. Yeah, that's kind of page edits in a nutshell. Again, all of the same functionality. So with kind of the document overview and the side editing overview, those are going to be the same on all pages. If you want to like add additional blocks, so if you want to add a carousel You can do that as well by just adding a block up here. Other things that are kind of cool is you can kind of like shuffle around the different blocks. So if I want to move like this up here, you can kind of do the rearranging there. Or if I want to move the button banner to the very top, you can do stuff like that. So everything is kind of independently editable, which is really nice. I'm going to back out of here without saving anything since I did some toggling. And let's see, last topic we're going to go over is equipment. And that's kind of a big one. So again, just to clarify, this is for manually added equipment. If you have a sync set up with your business system, you cannot make manual edits to a sync. And the reason why is because syncs run every morning typically or late at night. And if you were to make manual edits during that time, it would wipe out, or the sync would wipe out any manual edits. So this is specifically if you're doing manual uploads. I'm going to navigate down to products on the left-hand sidebar and click into that. Everything that lives under products is going to be manually added equipment. Also any other brand showrooms. So some dealers, let me see what's an example on this site here. I'm not sure if we have any other brand showrooms. Let's take a look. All right, Bashag, I think, is one that we have. Yeah, okay, so this is a good example. Basically all Kubota showroom equipment, so everything that falls under the Kubota showroom, that lives somewhere else because it's updated through a sync, it's co-opt, all that kind of stuff. It's organized in a very different way. But underneath the products backend will be dealer added new and used equipment, as well as any of the other brand equipment. It gets like filtered in here through an import. It all gets dumped into here. You'll be able to search for equipment up in the search bar if you want to make edits to something. If you're wanting to add a new listing, you would add a new listing up here. But I'm going to click into one that's already existing so we can see how it's all filled out. I'll go over the really like top tier things that when you're adding equipment are super important, and then kind of just some additional stuff and how it displays. I'm going to find this listing on the front end really quick so that we can look at it like the front end display compared to the back end input. There it is. All righty. So before I dive into the actual details of how it of all the different things you can add to a listing, I'll go over how you remove a listing. So there's two different options here. There's an option of just totally trashing it. You can, as you hover over each of these listings, you see these little like quick edit functions that happen. If I click trash on this listing right now, it will be removed from the back end and the front end, and there won't be record of it. It happens almost automatically. The other option is unpublishing or marking as out of stock. The reason why I suggest this over just trashing it completely is because it keeps all the records in the back end and just removes them from the front end. The reason why this is nice, maybe this wouldn't apply so much to used equipment because those are very unique. But if you have, you know, like this exact same piece of equipment that you see come through multiple times, instead of needing to input all the stuff manually again, you can just remove it from the front end and it'll live in the back end. And then when you get that listing again, you can just make the little minor updates, maybe update some images or some pricing, and it'll still live in the back end for you. So kind of go over that first. You would click into this quick edit function. And then you would come down here and you would find this in stock field. If it's in stock, it's live on the front end. You can view it. If we move it to out of stock and update, it'll prompt you on the back end that it's out of stock. It's like very noticeable. And then that piece of equipment will no longer be viewable on the front end. So you can see that we just made this change. And then if I try and search for this piece of equipment on the front end, it doesn't actually pull it up. It'll pull up related equipment, but it won't pull up the actual piece of equipment that we deleted. It pulls up like the most relatable to that piece. So that's kind of how that works. And then once I republish it, so come into the quick edit, make it out of stock to in stock. It'll think for a while. There we go. And now this piece of equipment, let's give this a little refresh really quick. That piece of equipment should now be viewable, and you can see it pulls it up, that direct listing there. So that change happens pretty automatically. Okay, so that's how to remove something manually. Adding a new thing, just like kind of the other backend edits we looked at. Again, you would click the add new, but I'm going to click into this listing just to show you all the different editing functions. Click into edit. Again, I'll pull that one up on the front end so we can review it together. All right, this is what the backend editor looks like. Very similar to everything else. You have a spot for a title. You have a spot for a product description. I think this will be kind of where you put a majority of your information. You also have a bunch of product fields you can fill out. So if you keep on scrolling down on this like main left dashboard, you have a spot for stock number, manufacturer, year, horsepower. Fill out as much or as little of these as you want. They'll display kind of in a list right in this area here. Title will display up here. Overview is where the description is. So you can see like this text here is your description box here. Working your way down, kind of still in this main dashboard area, you have a spot for pricing. So pricing gets placed here. You don't need to do any additional symbols. It will translate that over with decimals and the dollar sign for you. What other stuff on this side that we have? You have additional like product field tabs you can kind of filter through. Additional content if you want to add in any brochure documents, any spec sheets. Under links, this is where you'll add in any, if you want to link any promotions that you have input through dealer promotions, you can link them here. You can also add equipment to locations. This is super apparent, especially with like used equipment where maybe you only carry it at one location. You could link locations that way. I think those are kind of the main things that you can fill out in this area here. And then over on this kind of smaller right-hand dashboard, this is where you're going to upload images. So you'll have your main product image and then your product gallery. So this is where you could do like those additional thumbnail images. And then categories. You can select categories, and this will fill out these category drop downs over here. So the more categories you apply, whether it be like a category or it doesn't look like there's subcategories set up on here, but you kind of have these categories and then these additional like nested subcategories as well. You can apply those. And it'll just give some more like filtering options for people on the front end of the site. And then saving the best for last. The most important thing, which I probably should have started with, is product tags. It's this tiny little box hidden down here in the bottom. Applying a tag is what makes sure the equipment gets placed on the correct page. If you were doing manual equipment on our Sitefinity platform, there was like a little checkbox. It would be like new and used. This is basically that. You need to apply either the new or pre-owned tag to every piece of equipment, and then whatever you apply, it'll go to the correct page. Kind of show you how that works. You just start typing new, it'll prompt you, add it in. If I also want this for some reason to be on the pre-owned page, I would do pre-owned and add. And so basically all the tags will start to kind of populate down here. And now this listing will show up on both the new and the pre-owned page. Other tags that are relevant are rentals. So if you have rental equipment, we have a rentals tag. I think those are all of them, so not that many. But assigning a tag is what puts the equipment on the correct page. So like if I were to save this right now, this piece of equipment would be viewable on the new, the pre-owned, and the rentals page. So that's an important step for creating new equipment. And then like everything else, whenever you're done, always update or publish, and then those settings will be live on the front end. Any questions? I feel like equipment is the number one thing that people want to know how to do. And it's the most, I would say, involved. I think it's pretty user-friendly, but sometimes it takes some time to get in there. Nothing right now. All righty, y'all. Can you show building a page from scratch? I can. There are a couple of things I want to discuss about that first. Mega menu stuff. So basically creating, this is different from the old platform, at least for now. Editing your mega menu has to be done by us first. So we need to make a page viewable in one of these drop downs. Only admin or TracTru, our staff, can add things to this menu. The reason why is just the editing of the mega menu is not super user-friendly yet. Everything else is. I would say this isn't quite there. So if you're wanting to create a page from scratch, you're going to need to reach out to us anyways to get it added to a menu. So most likely at this time, we would create the page from scratch, at least like create it, and then we would allow you to go in and make that edit, make all the edits and everything. But we want to make sure that it's set up, viewable, searchable on a menu for you. So we would be the ones that would at least like probably create that foundation and put it down in the mega menu. But creating the page, basically creating the page, it will live in the back end, but you need us to set it up to be viewable on the front end, I guess is a more clear way of describing that. But pages, add new, just like everything else. Give it a second to think. Oh my. All righty. Let me get back into the chat there. Not what I wanted to hear. Yeah, we're aware of that. I think we're still kind of fine tuning how to make the editors of the mega menu a little bit easier. But we're here. We have the staff to kind of help with that. So it'll just take a little bit more communication for now. And we are doing weekly releases, getting a lot of things updated, getting a lot of feedback from dealers as we launch new dealers on the platform, and kind of making edits as we go. Things that are requested, we're definitely passing on that feedback to our developers, so on and so forth. So in the meantime, you're just going to have to work with us a little bit more directly, and we'll get the pages up there that you're wanting. And in due time, we'll make those mega menu editors a little bit easier for the masses. But it finally populated while I was chatting here. We got a big old blank page here. You can add a title, and this will be like the back end title for you. And then you just kind of start placing blocks. I like to kind of open up these little sidebars so I can kind of know what I'm editing. And you're just always kind of looking for these plus buttons. So you kind of go like this, and a block, I want to do like a heading for the page. So heading, create a heading. You can kind of do a lot of editing just within this itself. You can move things to the center. You can change the text color, so on and so forth. You can kind of do a lot of stuff there. Then you have basically a bunch of, it'll start prompting you with all these like pluses, and you can kind of start to create additional things. So if you want to just browse through all the options, we have like paragraph blocks, we have lists. You can put in images and videos. We can do different types of buttons. You can group different things together. You can create columns, so they're kind of like side-by-side content options. Just admit someone. If you have any like custom code, or you want to do any embeds for different platforms, you have those. But you have a bunch of different stuff that you can kind of work through. Thrive specifically, so that's the platform that we're working on right now. These are all of our custom blocks that we've created specifically for all of our Kubota dealers. So you have all of these really awesome options. This is where you have like accordions. So it's like main text and drop down text, different groups of buttons, all your different carousel options. So we were kind of reviewing that on the home page. You have like different employee blocks, or if your career blocks, kind of everything gets put into this area here. So I would say these are kind of the heavy hitters of the back end edits that we've designed specifically for this new platform. But it's just going to take time to go through these, and happy to sit with anyone who's like really involved with custom page building. We can kind of review this kind of stuff together more one-on-one. But this is how you would create at least the back end presence of the page. And then you would just need to reach out to us and be like, hey, I want the test page to live under this drop down, and we'll do that for you, and it'll live there. And eventually, yeah, down the road, we'll make that part a little bit more user friendly and more editable, and we'll go from there when the time comes. Let me get back to the chat really quick. But that is basically all of the basic training we're going to go into today. I'm gonna kind of sit in the chat for a little bit if anyone has any questions. I'm also going to put a little bit of information in the chat, so this will be good stuff for you guys to save. Oh, actually, it looks like those links didn't show up. I will put them in independently. So the first link I have here, this is going to be our help desk. This is where we have written instructions. This is where I'm going to be uploading this video so you guys can watch it later. So definitely save this link, the TracTru Thrive at zendesk.com. That's where we're going to upload basically all video content, all written instruction for the new platform. So it's really good stuff to have on hand. The next little asterisk there is our help desk. So that's the kubota@tractru.com email or the support@tractru.zendesk.com email. That's how you can reach out to us on the support team. That's where we can help you add pages to the mega menu. That's where if you have any questions, you can reach out to us and we will just do our best to help you. And then the last link that didn't come over is our Calendly for one-on-one training. So this is the link that you can sign up for if you want to have just a one-on-one chat, if you want to review the site, if you have any other questions. That is how you can sign up for some one-on-one training with us. Yeah, that was a lot of information. I have this recorded. So I will upload it probably tomorrow to the TracTru Thrive Zendesk site. And that way you can view it for whenever you transfer over to the new platform, or if you need a little refresher about what we talked about today. But that's all, folks. Thanks for joining.